It's 10 o'clock and it's time for the council to be in session. Mr. Padilla is here and Mrs. Walters. We have 3 members present. We need 7 more for a quorum. It's 10 minutes after 10, and we have 8 members present. We need 2 for a quorum. Mrs. Chick, Ms. Galanter, Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Pacheco, Mr. Savornich, please come to the council chamber. Sergeant, if you see if you can find 2 members. Call the roll.
Brunson, Chick, Fuhrer, Galanter, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Ridley, Pacheco, Padilla, Ridley, Thomas, Vornich, Wax, Walters, Ferraro. 10 members present in the quorum, Mr. President.
The council will please come to order. This is a meeting of the City Council for the City of Los Angeles on the 14th day of July 1999. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on Channel 35. We're also being monitored by council phones. So the first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Fuhrer moves, Ms. Goldberg second. There's no objections, unanimous vote. Next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
There's no objections, unanimous vote. Next item.
Before beginning the regular agenda, Mr. President, you have several items to continue. Item number 1, the applicant consents to continuance to July 28th.
Is there any objections to that continuance? Seeing none, that will be the order. Next item.
Item number 23 should be continued to August 13th.
Is there any objection to continue that item? Seeing none, that will be the order.
Next items, Mr. President, you have several city officials to be confirmed, items 12, 13, 14, and 15. I need a motion from the floor to receive and file item 13.
We need a motion to receive and file item 13.
The mayor has withdrawn the nomination.
The mayor has withdrawn the application.
And he resigned.
Okay, if there's no objection, 13 will be received and filed. Okay, item number 12, Paul Ash. Paul, where are you? Paul is not here. Paul is a reappointment to the Affordable Housing Commission. He was appointed by me, I don't know how many years ago, but he served very well, so Mr. Fuhr moves, prepare the roll on item 12, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Mr. Ash has been reappointed and confirmed forthwith on that. Next item.
Item 14, Paula G. Leftwich to the Rent Adjustment Commission.
This is a reappointment to the Rent Adjustment Commission. Is there any discussion? Mr. Ridley Thomas moves, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Ms. Leftwich, you've been approved and reapproved, and thank you very much for serving the city.
Good morning, and thank you very much. I've enjoyed it.
Okay, next item.
Item number 15 is confirmation reappointment Dale Ma to the Relocation Application Appeals Board.
Mr. Ma, this is a reappointment. Any discussion on this? And Mr. Holden moves approval. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Again, Mr. Ma, thank you for serving the city, and we send that forthwith.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item, public hearing item number 2 is the final hearing, and then the matter needs to be continued to August 4th for ballot tabulation.
Is there anybody in the chamber who wants to be heard on item number 2 today? Seeing none, the item will be continued until August 4th. If there's no objections, that will be the order. Next item.
Item number 3, public hearing item, Planning and Land Use Management Committee report to be submitted.
If you need a few minutes, Chip. What's this? This is separate. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Should I hang on to it? I'll put it with the board. I'll put it with. Okay.
Mr. President, in the absence of Mr. Burnson, who is the chairman of the Planning and Land Use Management Committee, I'd like to present this case and move a public hearing, a limited public hearing. We did hold a public hearing in Planning Committee yesterday. This is a conditional use case, a request for a school, Marlboro School in CD4 on Arden and Rossmore. There was an extensive work done by the zoning administrator, by the BZA, and the community, and we might want to have a presentation first by the zoning administrator. So if we have Ms. Lourdes Green, the zoning administrator, come forward to present the case, and then move a public hearing for both sides.
We'll have the public hearing.
And although it indicates a motion is required, there is a Planning and Land Use Management Committee report. We heard it yesterday, and that's been distributed, and I would move the Planning and Land Use Management Committee report for consideration.
Good morning, council members. Lourdes Green, Planning Department. As indicated by Council Member Misakowski, this item was heard on appeal yesterday by the Planning and Land Use Committee. At that time, Planning and Land Use Committee modified 2 of the conditions that had been approved previously by the BZA on appeal. Those had to do with a gate on Arden and a roof overhang over a pool area. There are, I think the appellants are here and people in support of the project are here. This is a conditional use, again, to expand athletic facilities for a private school. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Otherwise, I'll just refer this time for anybody else who would like to speak. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, then shall we have the public hearing now? All right. Jan Chatton Brown.
It's hard to get the view of the full council either way, but my name is Jan Chatton Brown. I'm an attorney specializing in environmental and land use law and representing Community for Sensible Planning. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Hopefully, you will have to review the letter that I submitted into the record. Unfortunately, since the hearing took place yesterday afternoon before the Plum Committee, we have not yet seen the Plum Committee report. But let me start by saying that we do thank the committee for the issues that they did address and reinstated some of the conditions that had been deleted by this BZA. This is essentially a situation where the appellants are not opposing the expansion of the school, but are asking for more stringent mitigation measures. And I know that there are at least two of you, Ms. Mizikowski and Mr. Fuhrer, who have been very actively involved in getting effective mitigation for schools, both expanded and new, in their district. And we're really just asking that something comparable to those provisions be included for this particular school expansion. You will be told that this is not an expansion. That is true in the sense of it is not increasing student capacity. However, it is resulting in many additional trips because they do not currently have the athletic facilities at the school that will draw parents, supporters, coaches, and opposing teams. There's also a vast expansion in terms of the number of events that would be allowed at this facility. So there are going to be many additional trips. Mr. President, how much time do we have for our presentation?
Not too much.
That's always the case. All right, well, I simply want to state that the three serious remaining issues in terms of the appellants are the lack of adequate parking at the school site. The school has been operating under a variance since 1980. The zoning administrator, after a thorough review and based upon the studies that had been submitted by the applicant, showed that they needed 170 spaces for on-site parking. She imposed that condition and the BZA eliminated it and went with 134 that Marlboro, which had appealed this decision of the zoning administrator, had accepted. And I really want to emphasize, you'll hear from many Marlboro supporters today. Well, there have been petitions submitted in the record from 180 residents that live within 500 feet of this school. And I dare say, although there are some supporters that live in the general Hancock Park area, the vast majority of people that you'll hear from today or that will rise in support of the project have students at the school but don't live near the school. The people that are immediately affected, in general, want to see on-site parking. Now, there are some that spoke at the BZA hearing that said they supported on-street parking because they felt it would slow traffic. As the zoning administrator noted, there is nothing in the record to support that. And one of the problems with what I believe you're going to be doing today, frankly, is that there was a mitigated negative declaration for this project. The zoning administrator stated at the BZA hearing that the conditions that she imposed was central to her decision to approve the project. You are going to be, I believe, adopting findings that say as effective mitigation measures have been adopted when in fact there is no evidence in the record to support that. A serious mitigation measure, the on-street parking, on-site parking has been eliminated. There is no increased requirements for demand parking management. I must say that I believe that that the city would be legally vulnerable in approving a mitigated negative declaration based upon the current record. We do want to, just the one other finding that I want to mention is on page 4 of your findings. It also states that the prohibition on music, amplified sound, is infeasible. There's nothing to support that finding. Those are the two major findings that I think are not supported by the record. From what I've seen, I got these findings and was reviewing them just before coming to this meeting. Unfortunately, there are just a couple of other speakers that would like to address this issue. I urge you to review the letter that I submitted with regard to what is in the record.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Paul Roberts, and then Daniel Gauchi. And Mr. Roberts, don't repeat what's been previously said.
My name is Paul Roberts. I have a public relations company that specializes in land use issues, and today I'm here representing a group of angry residents who live within 500 feet of this project who still can't believe that the mayor and the Board of Appeals could overturn all 34 of the key environmental conditions contained in the zoning administrator's carefully researched decision. These are people who fought long and hard to be heard in this process and who are quite upset that the Board of Zoning Appeals, under pressure from the mayor's office, could so casually throw out a compromise which protected all the interests of all the neighbors. These were critical environmental conditions, as you've heard earlier, based on uncontested evidence about how many parking spaces the school currently uses each day, let alone how many parking spaces they're going to use when they tear down a block of homes and double the size of the campus. The school is, after all, building brand-new bleachers with fixed seating for 170 people, but they're only going to have 136 parking spaces for a student population of 530 students and nearly 100 faculty and staff. That's not even enough for their present parking needs, let alone their future needs. The school in its own parking study proved that they need at least 170 parking spaces each day, and that's what Ms. Green, in her wise decision, insisted that they have on campus. No other business and no other school in the city, no other school is allowed to use public streets for the private parking need. We urge you not to make Marlboro the first. We'd also ask that you consider reinstating at least one of the other conditions that were tossed out, and that's for a fairly elected oversight committee. Ms. Green had a very sound way of electing the committee. Council member Mizikowski pointed out yesterday that part of the thing that's going to make or break this whole thing is how it's enforced after the fact. And right now, Marlboro is insisting that they handpick the oversight committee that monitors their decisions. So we'd ask that you reinstate at least two of the things that were tossed out earlier. One of which is no on-street parking. The second of which is to increase the campus parking to at least 170 spaces. And the last, and maybe the most important, is to have a fairly elected oversight committee similar to the proposal that Ms. Green earlier stated.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Daniel Gauchi, and then Mr. Oswald Borgia.
Good morning, Mr. President, the council members. My name is Daniel Gauchi, and I live in 208 South Arden. My house will be just across the street, 132 feet from the wall behind which there will be the bleachers and the swimming pool. In the beginning, when I started Homes on Arden, which stands for Homeowners Opposing Marlboro's Expansion Schemes, we were against this project entirely. But then when we realized, Mr. President, that you were in favor of the school's expansion, we said, okay, let's compromise. And we were very happy when the zoning administrator, in her wisdom, really gave certain conditions that we would have been happy, and that's why we did not appeal. However, it is outrageous that certain of the conditions have been absolutely thrown out by the Board of Zoning Appeals, completely. The school gets what the school applied for. That's ridiculous. we are still insisting that the school should have 170 parking spaces on site, that the school should not park in the streets, either daily or during their special events, that the school should have no weekend activities of any kind, that the school should have no amplified sounds, and there should be no gate on Arden. We always insisted upon an EIR. No, they have always avoided subjecting the project to an EIR, and they presented to us a sham called Neighborhood Impact Report, which report was compiled and produced by none other than members handpicked by Marlborough School. We are outraged that you favor big business and disregard the well-being of those living around the school, those within the 500 feet from the school. I wonder how many of Marlborough's attendees today live within the 500 feet of the school. I beg you to reconsider your decisions and impose and re-accept what the zoning administrator applied as conditions. Thank you very much.
Mr. Gauci, Oswaldo Luis Borgia.
Good morning, Mr. Ferraro. Good morning, members. I think everything is already been said, so it's very little for me to say, but I would like to tell you people I live at 215 South Rosemore Avenue, cross the street from Marlborough. Every day, and this is the problem that my wife has, every day, my wife leaves the house around 9:30 every morning to 10 o'clock to come to our office. And being cars parking on the curb is very impossible to see the outcoming traffic. So every morning, our maid had to come out and guide my wife to back up into the street. And many times, the maid has to go in the middle of the street to stop the traffic, so my wife can come out in the street. Now, I hope that you could do something to this. I may mention that you could paint our curb red, but my feelings are that will be too selfish for me, so nobody can use those parking spaces. Okay, I don't mind if Marlborough park their car there, because they have the Henry block on Rosemore Avenue that they say they would love Marlborough to park. So those people at Henry block, at 300 block, and at 400 block could have all the cars from Marlborough. I have no problem with that, but I have a problem every day when my wife is trying to get out from the parking space. So another suggestion is, instead of a red parking, okay, now they are allowed to park on Rosemore Avenue from 9 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If we move 1 hour ahead from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock, most of the people who leaves to work, they will be leaving from 9 to 10. They wouldn't have that problem.
Okay.
So I feel that this is something feasible, it's something that can be worked out without much of a problem, and most of the people will be happy. I will be happy, the people from Marlborough will be happy, and everybody could park in the street without no problem.
We'll look into that, Mr. Borges. Thank you very much. We want to make everybody happy.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Did you want to say something?
Yes. I just wanted to note for the record, there was a comment made on a condition that oversight committee that had been modified by the BZA from my original action, and That is not true. It actually remains as I proposed it, which gives a lot of input to the people on the block of the 100 South Block of Arden, who are some of the people that are concerned today. So I want to clarify that for the record.
Thank you. Mark Armbruster, and then John Welborn. And we have several others that want to be in favor, but
Thank you. My name is Mark Armbruster. I represent the applicant Marlboro School. This is a case, I think, contrary to what you've heard, that has been involved in nearly 3 years of intensive discussions and working with the surrounding community, such that most of the people in the community are very pleased with the conditions that have been worked out, because they've been worked out with the community and with the council office. Just say every school case is different. This case is different from many that you hear, because this is not the case of a new school or an expanded school, an expanded enrollment. This is an existing school where the enrollment will be limited, so there will not be new impacts from parking. As a matter of fact, Department of Transportation said there are not any new impacts, parking impacts from this project. Yet, this project increases parking in the area by 50%. So the parking situation in which these neighbors have been concerned about, and as we are too, will actually be much better with this project than without the project. Briefly, I'd like to say that we believe that all the CEQA findings necessary to support the decision are in the record. And finally, I would just like to, because I'd like to let the people from the community speak, I'd like to just point out on this chart that the school is located here in light blue. The people that are most directly impacted by this project, or could be, live directly across the street, over here and over here. The green indicates all the people that live in both sides that are in support of this decision and in support of the Plum Committee recommendation. And I think that speaks the world of where this case is. So we would urge you to support the Plum Committee report. Thank you.
John Welborn. And then Steve Haney.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is John Welborn. I'm a resident of 434 South Plymouth Boulevard. I am a volunteer part of this process for 3 years. The school, Marlboro School, was built in its present location in 1916, and my family has lived within 4 to 6 blocks of it since 1918. Now, I haven't lived there quite that long, but I've lived about 50 years there. I do urge you, as I know the Plum Committee and the staff has done, to review the letters as Ms. Chatton Brown recommends, and everything else in the file. It's a file that's a couple of cartons thick by now. Each issue has been reviewed for years, actually, since October of 1996. Neighbors have participated in this review, and what has been seen and endorsed by the and most what was endorsed by the zoning administrator. There were some things the neighbors disagreed with and the school disagreed with. The BZA compromised those out and balanced them out. Plum has unanimously recommended to you to go forward as Plum decided. And as was just pointed out by Mr. Armbruster, in Mr. Borges' block, 6 of the 9 residents are in support of this. And in Mr. Gauchi's block, 8 of the 12 residents are in support of this. It was a long process. We hope to get 100% unanimity, but not everybody was satisfied, but the vast majority is. The president of the Windsor Square Association is here, the past president is here, but most importantly, I think you ought to hear from Steve Haney, who lives right smack dab across from the project and was one of the biggest opponents, so I will yield to those other neighbors. Thank you, Mr. President.
Please do, John. Steve Haney, and then Jane Ellison Usher would be next.
Mr. Council President, I'm Steve Haney. I live at 226 South Arden Boulevard. That's right in the middle of the block of the 200 block of South Arden, directly across from the project. I haven't taken a tape measure and measured how far my door is from the wall, but I believe it's a little closer than Mr. Gauchi's, who's also in that block. I'd like to note that I served as the chair of the neighborhood committee, which was a group of us within the neighborhood who got together and committed to a process of working with the school to find a solution to a problem. The problem was that of the neighborhood's desires and the school's desires not quite coming together. We worked for the better part of 2.5 years, very much with the council offices support and encouragement, and I believe we arrived at something that the vast majority, as was just pointed out on that map, of the immediately affected neighbors could support. That plan was submitted as Marlboro's application. It was submitted with the support of vast majority, not only of the people who live on the block, but also of the neighborhood in general. That flies a little bit in the face of what Ms. Chatton Brown said in terms of the vast majority of supporters that you'll hear are those who don't live within the immediate area and who have children going to the school. I live directly in the area. I have 3 children. None of them go to the school. All of those who support the project on our block have no children that go to the school. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there. But we are very much in favor of seeing the Plum Committee's recommendation approved and support the project moving forward. Thank you.
Yeah, Steve, we want to thank you for working so hard with this because you started out one way and you came around to realize that there was a need for a compromise.
Well, thank you, and as John mentioned, I also volunteered my time.
All right. Jane Usher.
Good morning, Council President and council members. For me, as the president of the Windsor Square Association and a resident of the neighborhood at 218 South Windsor Boulevard, this is a twofold pleasure. One is to tell you that the neighbors have worked long and hard. They are overwhelmingly in support of the project and endorse Plum Committee's recommendation to you. The second pleasure is, as I walk into this chamber, it's just fun for me to be back and to say that everything changes, and thank goodness, Council President, nothing changes. Thank you.
Norman Murdoch, and then Jean.
Yes, I'm Norman Murdoch. I live at 342 South Irving Boulevard in Windsor Square, not Hancock Park, Windsor Square. And I'm a member of the board of the Windsor Square Association. I don't have any children in the school and don't anticipate having any children or grandchildren in the school. And I haven't been pressured by the mayor. I'm a professional city planner, and I just want to say that I support the Plum Committee report and urge your prompt approval of it. In my 40 years as a professional city planner, I have never seen a more extensive program of collaborative citizen and neighborhood involvement. Nor have I ever seen a more detailed environmental evaluation, despite the negative things that have been said about it. So thank you very much. I urge your prompt approval of the Plum recommendations. Thank you.
Okay. And Jean, okay, whatever it is. And then Michael Cornwell would be next.
For the record, I'm a city employee appearing on my own time. For the record, I'm a resident of Hancock Park and have been since 1978, but live outside the potentially immediately impacted area. Excuse me. My daughter goes to Marlboro. I am not here because of that. I'm here because of my expertise as a city employee. In the 1970s, I wrote the first environmental impact report in the state of California after the Friends of Mammoth decision, and then was partially assigned as part of my job responsibilities to the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office and evaluated all purchases, sales, or leases involving the City of Los Angeles until the implementation of CEQA in California. I have reviewed what's called the NIR. I have reviewed all the positions taken by all the experts, not the arguments taken, but just the experts from both sides. And in my opinion, the total NIR with the arguments presented from both sides from the experts constitute an environmental impact report equal to anything I ever did on behalf of the City of Los Angeles or reviewed on behalf of the City of Los Angeles from outside experts. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Cornwell and then Gina Brandt.
Thank you, Mr. Ferraro and members. I'm delighted to appear here today as the former president of the Windsor Square Association and delighted to welcome Jane Ellison Usher as the new president. When this project first hit us 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, I and my board were totally opposed to it. The school recognized many mistakes that they'd made. They withdrew the project. They brought in a new head of school. They worked very closely with the community. It's a good project. We're sorry we couldn't please everyone. Marlboro is very important to our community and to the city, and we urge you to support the Plum Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Gina Brandt.
Hi, my name is Gina Brandt, and I live within the 500-foot radius of the school. I live at 143 Rossmore, which is on the corner of Muirfield and Rossmore, so I am well acquainted with the parking situation and the speeding situation on Rossmore. I got to tell you that I'm a little sick of these hired guns and their misrepresentations of how people who are Rossmore residents feel about the parking situation. Quite honestly, it doesn't take rocket scientists to realize that if you have parked cars on either side of a road as wide as Rossmore, cars slow down. They are forced to drive in an orderly queue. They do not drive passing on the right and passing on the left. So I don't think a study is necessary. I think you can figure that one out. It is very important to me and to the people who have signed the petition that traffic be slowed on Rossmore. One of the traffic calming devices that the city has at its disposal is to allow on-street parking. We could have speed bumps, we could have knuckles, we could have textured pavement, we can have turn barriers, traffic circles, and medians, but parking doesn't cost anybody anything. It also allows the neighborhood to have a sense of self-governance, because if the parking situation doesn't work out, if we choose not to have parking on the street, we can work that out with Marlboro. I don't believe for a second that Marlboro wouldn't be amenable to an agreement with the neighbors to have parking limited in front of their particular house. That can be done by having an education process for the parents and for the students. Those things can all be worked out. There is nothing that that prevents us from working out the parking situation if we're allowed to keep parking within the realm of our arsenal to slow traffic on Rossmore. I urge you not to change that proposal.
That's all the cards we have, so the public hearing is closed. Ms. Sikowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. As was indicated, there's now on the desk a Planning and Land Use Management Committee report. Many of the issues, particularly those raised by the appellants and opponents to some of the conditions, have been dealt with. You heard that there was a desire to not have an access gate on Arden Boulevard, and the committee did recommend that there be no access gate except if the fire department determines one is needed, and then only for emergency purposes. There were issues in terms of good neighbor policy. At one point, there was a wall height between 8 and 10 feet, and again, just showing the ability of the school to work with the neighbors. Where some neighbors wanted an 8-foot wall, that is what will go into effect. Where some neighbors wanted the 10-foot wall, that will go into effect. So there is flexibility and already an indication of the school working with its neighbors. The street parking issue and or the parking on site was something, as you've heard, that the majority of the neighbors, and particularly the majority of the neighbors who live in that area, had indicated they did want the street parking rather than disturbing a garden area and putting that parking on site. Even with that, the school has increased the parking on site by 50%. The other thing that is important in this, in these sets of conditions are the ongoing liaison committee, which, although was indicated had been changed, is not changed. It will be appointed with members from the school and from the school neighbors, the group that has concerns out there, as well as the council office. That is going to be the key in terms of the enforcement and the mechanism. And over and above that, what the zoning administrator and the BZA supported was a one-year review. So if in fact things aren't working the way that people would like to have them work, it will be reviewed 1 year after these facilities are up and operating to make sure that if changes are necessary, they can be conducted in an open hearing and an open process. Members of the council, I think there was one thing I heard said that I found disturbing, and I think it's something that's applying to all of our districts. Someone asked that there be no weekend activity at a school, no weekend use. What is coming forward today is an athletic field and athletic facilities. I think we had the best indication this last weekend of the interest, particularly in girls sports, for more athletic fields, but it runs the gamut from girls and boys and every field. We ourselves, under Prop K, have said that we now need to work with our schools to facilitate and leverage whatever public monies we have available to make our schools available, both public and private, whenever we can. That doesn't mean free and open. It means controlled. It means working with neighborhood committees. It means establishing these kinds of liaisons. But we need fields. We need places for our kids to have healthy output, healthy organized activities, and I think what is recommended here, both by the school and in concert with the neighborhood community, is doing the job that's necessary, and I think that's why the Planning and Land Use Management Committee unanimously made these recommendations to support this with these appropriate controlled and mediation conditions that will be part of the school and its operation, including some major transportation demand management issues that will improve the overall situation. So I recommend the adoption of the Planning and Land Use Management Committee report.
Members, this is in my district, and this school has been in that area for probably more than 100 years. It's an outstanding school. There was a definite need for some expansion, and they worked with the community, they worked with us, and I think we have a good compromise here, and I would urge an aye vote on the Plum Committee report. Any other discussion? If not, prepare the roll. Mr. Holden, did you want to be heard?
Yes, sir. Mr. President, in 12 years I've been here, I just want the general public, especially the people who live in your district, to know that I can't think of any member who served in the city council who has done as much to mitigate problems as John Ferrara. Now, I know that his position today is not going to make either side happy. They're somewhat 8 feet wall and somewhat 10 feet wall. And what they're trying to do is find a happy medium. But John, of course, is going to be, I'm sure in some way underneath, if they don't have a good heart, criticized for saying, let's get a happy medium here. 10 feet wall, sometimes we have to outlaw those because they're not legal within the city of Los Angeles. 8 feet walls, we have to outlaw those. That people put those decorative walls up 8 feet, and we go and say you got to take them down. And now what they're doing is saying, in order to have a buffer for the noise and the sound, we're going to do 8 feet. In some cases, we graduated to 10 feet because 3 people, families want 10 feet, and 8 people, family want 8 feet. I mean, gee whiz, it's scale up, scale down. So I once again want to commend Mr. Ferrara and enthusiastically vote for his proposal. And I would hope that you over years will come to accept what he has brought together as a compromise.
We'll get a copy of that tape, Nate.
But when I drive down Rossmore and I look over and see that Marlboro School, you know what I wish? I wish that every kid would have the same opportunity to be exposed to the same kind of educational programs that they have there for our youth. And many people who live in the area, that's their public school. That's where they send their kids.
Thank you, Mr. Holden.
And Mr. Ferrara, you made it all possible 100 years ago.
Okay, prepare the roll on the committee report. Tabulate the vote. That is approved, and we'll send that forthwith. I want to thank all those who came here on both sides. There was a lot of work together in spite of little disagreements here and there. The next item.
Item number 4, public hearing item.
Is there anybody in the chamber who wants to be heard on item number 4? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any discussion on 4? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item number 5, public hearing item.
Is there
Planning
any-
and Land Use Management Committee report.
Anybody in the chamber wants to be heard on item number 5? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. The next item,
Items for which public hearings have been held, items 6 through 11.
6 through 11. Are any specials? 9 is called special. Mr. Savornich, the chair of the committee, has asked that be continued 1 week. Is there any objections to that? Any objections? Seeing none, that will be the order. We have 6, 7, 8, 10, and 11. Any other specials? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Those are approved. Mrs. Chick?
Mr. President, could we
Mr.
move forthwith on item 7 and 8?
Forthwith on 7 and 8.
Very briefly, colleagues, because this is really a presentation from all of us, would the newest papa in the council please come and join me?
Papa means father in English.
Rather than potato. But this is from all of us for the very happiest of any occasion. Rudy and his wife, Deanna, had a daughter, a beautiful...
Shall we vote on this? Ruth?
Yeah. Vote to accept his daughter, Danielle Marie Zavornich, and I think most of us have seen pictures of this gorgeous girl, often in the arms of her gorgeous brother. But from all of us to you and your family, congratulations. And look, in my language, he's kvelling.
Thank you. Thank you.
You want to make a speech? A goo-goo gaga?
Thank you, colleagues. Appreciate it very much.
Okay, the next item,
Items for which public hearings have not been held, items 16 through 30.
16 through 30. Anybody want to be, we have no cards, anybody want to be heard on any of those items? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any specials by council members?
Mr. President, on item 20, my understanding from staff is we should be voting to receive and file it.
Yeah, there's 19, 20, 21, 22 are receive and file. If there's no objections, that will be the order. Any specials? So we have 16 through 30, with the exception of 19 through 23, which have already been acted on. Prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 31 is closed session.
Okay, we'll call that special. Lay that on the desk. Anything else?
This is the time for comments from the public on non-agenda items.
Okay, Larry Ross.
My name is Larry Ross, and once again, I would like to drive home the point before the City Council members that this list is not to be construed as being exhaustive, but rather as being illustrative of the kinds of abuses and violations allowed to be perpetrated against my family and I by this so-called democratic nation founded upon principles of democracy. Grave desecrations, authorization for assaults and batteries against my person by thugs or hoodlums, thefts of personal property, that's right, property such as the 300-plus word languages stolen between 1st 2698 and 9/1498, false arrest, false imprisonment, false arrest and false imprisonment provided opportunities for endangerments to life and health during said incarceration. Pleasurism of characters such as Steelman, Steel, Superwoman, the victim, the perpetrator, Supermom, and Karen in Superman. Victim, the J-Man, perpetrator, the red tight wearing male who zips around the world before with the blink of an eye. Victim, Joe Black, detective, the perpetrator, the messenger of death, Joe Black. Focus is up on the name. World Starship Pathfinder, victim. Perpetrator, Star Trek Voyager. Master Trivia, or Can You Remember? Perpetrator, Jeopardy's Visuals. And get this, Rock and Roll Jeopardy, Channel 35. Incantor, victim. The perpetrator, the Sentinel. Victim, Starman. Perpetrator, DC Comics, Starman. Victim, Nemesis. Perpetrator, DC Comics, Nemesis. Victim, Starfire. Perpetrators, Marvel's Comics, Firestar. Victim, BOCO and B-Rock.
Mr. President.
LKACE.
My suggestion
Mr. Ridley Thomas, Mr. Ross, will you hold up in a second?
At the request of the President, we'll move the agenda. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Other projects during my incarceration that was stolen, that was created during that time period. JG's, Jasmine, J Guy, stolen while at MFC of Rochester, Minnesota. Also included in that theft have
At the request of the President Pro Tem, we'll move the
ideas
agenda.
for game shows, including drawings of an important piece of equipment or furniture while there. I refer to that piece of equipment as being a music piano. Drawings of structure for an amusement center, pieces of furniture, and of a design for a snow sled. Additionally, the opening and closing statements, if there had been a trial, was ripped off as well, and plots for TV and movies projects, etc., etc. Mind you, the theft of the aforementioned net property occurred as I was being subjected to false arrest, false imprisonment, and life and death, health endangerments by an institution of these United States of America and its employees. Let me add as well, illegal transportation, because it was illegal to transport me in the first place by van to the airstrip a few miles from here. And then it was an illegal transportation to fly me from there to Rochester, Minnesota. Then transported me in a van to FMC of Rochester, Minnesota. It was an illegal transportation to fly me to the Federal Transit Center of Oklahoma City. They kept me there for 2.5 days. On the third day, I was flown from there illegally to Riverside. And from Riverside, I was transported in a van back to MDC downtown. All involved were governmental employees, or were they? Now, I do strongly believe.
Okay, Mr. Ross.
I'm about to sum up.
Mr. Ross,
I'm about to sum up.
You speak too long every time. You're only supposed to speak 3 minutes.
I have.
And you talk about subjects that are not under our jurisdiction.
Yes, it is under your jurisdiction.
No, you think they are.
Because these things are being.
Yeah.
These things are being done in the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah, but we have the federal government in Los Angeles. We have the county government in Los Angeles. And the state of California in government. So please. Okay. Mr. Ridley Thomas says to move the agenda.
Move it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if there's conspiracy, go to the right people. Don't come to the city council. No, you can step down now, Mr. You can step down now, Mr. Ross. Thank you. We have new rules that you can only speak once a month. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Ross, would you turn that off, please? Mr. Ridley Thomas, will you speak to him? Okay. Yeah, well, that doesn't make it right. Next item.
Motions for posting and referral.
Yeah, if there's no objection, unanimous vote.
You have 2 excuses on the desk. Councilmember Goldberg requests to be excused Friday, July 30th to leave at 11:40 city business.
Yeah. Let's go to the next item.
Councilmember Burnson requests to be excused Friday, July 16th, to leave at 11:15. City business meets council policy.
There's no objection, unanimous vote.
The desk is clear for closed session.
We have the closed session item. Would everyone leave that's not involved with the closed session? Okay, the council is back in session. Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, a special one motion presented by Councilmember Fuhr. The city attorney will explain the need to make the findings.
Mr. President, members, in order for this council today consider Mr. Fuhr's motion on this posting of a reward, it needs to make the finding that under the provisions of the Government Code and Rule 23 of the City Council rules, that there is a need to take immediate action on this matter, and that the need for action came to the attention of the council subsequent to the posting of today's agenda.
Prepare the roll on the findings. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Now we have Mr. Fuhr.
Thank you, Mr. President. In recent weeks, there have been a series of arson attacks on churches. One, St. Mary Magdalene Catholic Church in my council district, has been victimized on 3 separate occasions, including 2 over this past weekend. The other church, St. Thomas the Apostle Catholic Church, is in Mr. Hernandez's district. The fire department believes it could be that the perpetrator who is responsible for the fires at one of these churches is responsible for the damage at the other as well, and would like us to promote this reward as a means of catching this perpetrator before he can engage in any further acts of desecration to houses of worship. Under these circumstances, I urge us to unanimously adopt the reward motion and continue to send the strong message that this council consistently has sent in the past, that we will not tolerate acts of vandalism or arson in houses of worship in our city.
Mr. Holden.
President, I support this motion. I received a call, I think it was Sunday, Monday, whichever, from Sunday evening, from the staff assistant of Mr. Assemblyman Herb Wesson, who said to me that they were going to introduce a motion statewide, and wanted to know whether or not I would participate on a local level. And he gave me the location, Corning in the Pico area. Is that right, Mr. Fuhr? And I said that district is Mr. Fuhr, but nonetheless, I would be supportive of it, and that's why I'm rising to offer my support. But Mr. Fuhr should be congratulated, because it's a church, an attack on the churches, religious communities of our city, state, and nation. Not too long ago, Mr. President, as you can recall, and others, that in the South, because of racial hatred, they were burning a lot of the Baptist churches. And we remember the bombing and the burning. And you got to stop it when it starts, because it get out of control, and it should never happen in the first place. So for that reason, Mr. President, I enthusiastically vote for this $10,000. I hope they can apprehend the person responsible for this crime.
Okay, prepare the roll on special one. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that. Next item.
The desk is clear, Mr. President.
Do we have any adjourning motions? Would everyone please stand? Mrs. Chick.
Yes, I'd like us all, colleagues, to adjourn in memory of Donald Clubb, a 65-year-old resident of the city in the West Valley. He was a retired Los Angeles firefighter, spent 23 years on the fire department. He passed away on July 12th of complications of kidney failure and pneumonia. He was a longtime resident of Reseda and leaves his loving and devoted wife of 43 years and an activist in the community herself, Jane Clubb, 1 daughter, Heather, and 3 grandchildren.
Call the row. The council is adjourned.